Okay, yesterday we saw in Daf Yomi Beitzah, we saw a statement of Rab which was not so clear. Rab said, "A Beitzah im yitziyasa nigmara." When it goes out, it's complete. We thought maybe it meant when it goes out, it's complete. It's considered you can put it in with milk. That we said is not true because even when it's inside, you can put it with milk. We said if it's inside, if it's nigmara, that you can go ahead and use it on yontif. We said if that also didn't work. We said yesterday if it goes back inside, roiv comes out, it goes back inside, and we got into a discussion about whether eggs is nigmara means if it's complete, then it's fertilized. It'll give birth to a chick, and if not, not. And then we said that nafkamina will be linyi mekach umemker. We brought a maisa with a person buying a chicken, and we said the deal is off. So it seems to be the following. There's eggs. Now, some eggs are fertilized and some are not. They're fertilized only when there's a zacha, when there's a rooster around. But a chicken, it lays eggs by warming itself up. It's the warming itself up is called safna da'ara. It's safna, it covers itself with earth. And that warms it up and it causes it to lay an egg. Of course, that egg will be unfertilized because there was no zacha. Okay, so that's important to know for the sugya. A safna da'ara is an unfertilized egg, literally covered with dirt. And zachar is with a fertilized egg when there's a rooster. So we're up to Zayin Amid Aleph. Zayin Amid Aleph. We're on about 6 lines down. Ahu da'amalahu. This person said to another person, Beya de Dachra, Laman. Beya de Dachra Laman. He was calling out, I want fertilized eggs. Dachra is the lotion of male. An ayil is called a Dachra. So Yavla Beya de Safna Miara. He gave him unfertilized eggs. He gave him the eggs that heated up from the ground. Us the commander of Rami came from the Rami to go ahead and adjudicate the case. Amalahu Mekach Toisu, the Mekach is a tois. He wanted fertilized eggs, you gave him unfertilized eggs. But Hodder, you have to give him back his money. Says in Pshita, it's Pashit. He was asking clearly for fertilized eggs, not for unfertilized eggs. So Ma'ud Tema, I would have thought, this fertilized, he didn't really want to have it to go ahead and have chicks. But behind the Gama the Dachra, Mishum the Shmina Tfei, they're fatter eggs. They have more cholesterol, I guess. He wanted to maximize his cholesterol. So, but it was both for eating. So really he wanted to eat both of them. So if that's the case, to give the difference between a fertilized egg and an unfertilized egg, vis-a-vis the halacha of achila, having a better egg. But the deal would still be on. It would be a mekach tois, kamash malon. It's a mekach tois because he wants a fertilized egg for the purpose of starting a chicken farm. Viba is saying another teretz. Another shot in Rav's ambiguous statement in siyasa nigmara, right? Besides being what fertilized, it goes in, is the following. Now, as we said yesterday, the difference between whether it can be fertilized or not. Viba is saying, what does that mean? Im yitziyasa ruba nigmara. If roiv comes out, it's considered born. So therefore, if roiv would come out before yontif, and then it would come yontif, it would be Beya Shenolda before Yontif. So Roiv would be considered a Leda. Beitzah Shiyatza Ruba may Erev Yontif. A Beitzah that comes, majority comes out of Yontif. So the Chayra, what's the Chiddush? Roiv is going after Roiv? No. The Chazra, it goes back inside the chicken. In other words, Roiv comes out and then it makes a return back into the chicken. And then it comes out on Yontif. Nonetheless, Mutar Salach will be Yontif, you'll be able to eat it on Yontif. Why? Because Beitzah, the Beya imitziyasa nigmara. So nigmara he means that's considered born. That therefore, in our scenario, would have been born before yontif. It wouldn't be Beya shenolda yontif, which is also according to Beis Hillel. Vika the army, other say the other way around. My imitziyasa nigmara, imitziyasa kula nigmara. Not roiv. You need the whole thing coming out. Imitziyasa kula in aval ruba loy. So this is not like Rabbi Yochanan, it's the opposite of Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan said Roiv would do the job. Over here, no, you need a complete egg to come out to do the job. Well, Afukim Rabbi Yochanan, it excludes Rabbi Yochanan's thing. That's the final conclusion to Rav's statement of Beya Misyasa Nigmara. Now we'll go back and discuss the halacha wad of a fertilized egg, a chicken, an egg in a chicken. What's the halacha? And we're going to get into the tumas of nevela, as we'll see. Gufa. Someone shechs a hen, beitzim gemurais. You find beitzim gemurais. Beitzah Gemuras, Rashi said that means the yellow, the yolk is complete. The yolk is complete. You know, as you think Gemuras means a fully developed egg. No, it means the yolk is complete. The yolk. Mutarais la'achlan b'chalav. It's permitted to eat that in milk. You'll be able to eat that in milk. Rabbi Yaakov Amar, if they were still connected through sinos, then asuros it's considered basar, and since it's basar, you would not be able to eat it while it's milk. So machloik is whether a beitzah that is meuros begidin, whether it's mutter or not. Kama says it's considered not meat, and Rabbi Yaakov says what it's considered meat, and therefore be asa. Man tana lahad tana rabbanon. Now, the Indian nevela, guys, of an animal, we know to touch it is Thomas took a maga umasa, even if you don't touch it. The nevela of an oif tamei, there's no such thing. Be aware of that, guys. An eagle, a dead oif tamei. If you have an oif tamei, there's no din of nevela by oif tamei. There's a din of nevela by oif tahar. Now, that din of nevela is only when it's in the throat and only to matama the person himself. Okay? So now it says the Gemara. I think maybe if it's in his throat, when he eats it, I think it becomes tummy his shirt. If it's in his throat, he can transmit tumah. Maybe, I think so. Again, don't quote me on this. Someone eats the nevela as a chicken that didn't have a good shechita, so it's nevela, and he eats it. Min hashalal, if he eats from the cluster shel beitzim, there's a cluster of beitzim, I'm not exactly sure. Rashi describes it being a part of the shidra. It's found on the spine of the chicken. Minat samai, so from the bones of this nevela. Minakidim, from the sinos of this nevela. Minabasa shenitmas minachai, basa that had been polished while it was still alive. Tahor, it's not considered basa. It's not considered. We're not discussing Eva minachai or basa minachai. We're discussing simply the halach of tumah b'tayra. So therefore, it's not halachic basa to be considered what oif nevela tahira, and therefore the person would be tahor. However, mina eshkol shel beitzim, from the ovary of the beitzim found on the ovary, not on the shidra, on the ovary. Min ha-kurkivin, if you eat from the kurkivin, which is the helical kurkivin, what we call a pupik, we call the pupik, the gizzard, the crap, that crushes up the food. It has a thing called a crap. That's the gizzard. You know, I could be telling you baloney. It could not be the crap. Crap could be a storage tank. It could be just kurkivin. It's called the gizzard. Umena kurkvin, ubnei me'ayin, or from the kishkas of a chicken, or you go ahead and you melt some schmaltz for gamu, and you go ahead and swallow it. Tamei, you would be tamei because that's considered basar. Good. Man tanim in a shalosh shel beitzim tahar. Who's the one who says from the cluster of eggs is tahar? Rabbi Yosef, like Rabbi Yaakov. It's not Rabbi Yaakov because Rabbi Yaakov said that what? That it's basar. He said it's asa. Tik Rabbi Yaakov Amar and hayav uris begidin asuris. And I guess the shalal of the beitzim is ma'uris begidin. So just like le'inyan meat and milk, it's considered meat. Who adin le'inyan nevelis oif tahar, it's considered meat. So it's zustelling issa veheta to tumah v'tayra. Just like by basa v'cholav, it's considered meat. Meat is meat by basa v'cholav. It's considered meat le'inyan tumah to be metama a person nevelis oif tahar. Good. Amalei Abaya, how could you make that zushtel? Memai. How do you know that just because it's meat l'inyan basa v'chalav, it's meat l'inyan tumah v'tayra? Dilma adkan like Rabbi Yaakov Hassam that the beitzim that are muris begidin is considered basar ela l'inyan isura, only regarding isura, because the rabbanon are geyser since it's close to being meat. Rashi says, guys, in other words, meat is meat. A duck is a duck, right? The question is, so what's your shiloh over here? So maybe Rabbi Yaakov says the Rabbanon were geyser, since this is close to meat, it's meat. Masha'en can have a linyan tumah live, but linyan tumah where you need vaday meat, maybe they weren't geyser, and we'll see why in a second. B'chitem linyan tumah nami nigzor. So that's how Rashi knew it was gezerah, guys, right? This guy says nami nigzor. You see, obviously the shalal, the meuris begidin, like Rabbi Yaakov is a gezerah, because it says nami nigzor, just like he's geyser over there by issa v'heta by basa v'cholav, he should be geyser over here right by tumah. Let's be geyser. Says Gemara, afushe tumah, this will be considered afushe tumah. Afushe tumah rabbanon leim fashinan. We don't. Even though there are certain times where geyser tumah rabbanon, that's only behechrach, guys. That's only if it's necessary. We try to avoid it as much as possible, simply because if you're going to be geyser tumah, then you're going to end up scenarios of burning kachim and truma, which you don't want to do. Again, there's a mitzvah to eat truma, there's a mitzvah to eat kashem. We don't want to go ahead and increase in tumah. The only time we'll be geizer tumah is behechrech, when we're forced to. All the tumas that we spoke about with the in the Yudches Gezeris and Mesepta Shabbos, all the Yidayim Mashniyos, and if you touch it, you're going to be Tameh. Again, those only behechrech. We have to do that. Masha'enkin over here, we could avoid it. Therefore, maybe saying the shalol shel beitzim, the cluster or the beitzim that meuris begidin, we won't be geizer by tumah. By basa b'chalav, yeah. By tumah, not. So einachinami Rav Yaakov could be going to Rav Yaakov also. You're not locked into saying it's not according to Rav Yaakov. Ken Zayin, it's according to Rav Yaakov. Think of the army other way around. Man tana mila eshkol shel beitzim. First shilos mishalol. That's the cluster. Eshkol shel beitzim means it's on the eggs that are on the ovary itself. So, and there we said it is basa. Man tana. Who's the tana mina eshkol shel beitzim pai? Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yaakovi. It's the tana Rabbi Yaakov. The Omarim hoyim uris begidim asurais. Right, so therefore, the first shayla was shalol, which was tahar. Here we're saying no, so he must be. The eshkol mehanach, the talia eshkol. How do you know it's the eggs that are suspended from the ovary? Dilma eshkol gufe, maybe the ovary itself, which is basar. In other words, the ovary is an organ. There's no question, guys, about an organ being meat. So when it said eshkol shel beitzim, why do you think it's the beitzim that are hanging from the eshkol? And therefore it's the halacha of a beitzim that's me'ura begidin, like Rabbi Yaakov, that it's considered basar. Maybe it doesn't mean the egg. Maybe it means the eshkol itself, the ovary itself, which clearly is what is basar. So what are you going to say to me? So what's the chiddush? It's a piece of chicken, right? It's a piece of chicken. So l'chayr, what's the chiddush? Bishleim, if you're going to tell me it's the egg hanging over there, the chiddush is that an egg that's me'ura begidin would be basar. That's a chiddush. Mashenki, to tell me clearly that the ovary is a piece of basar. What's the chiddush? Says Gemara, midi dahavia korkivin ubnei meyayin. Maybe it's just as like a korkivin meyayin. The Africa of the basar, keeping the ik inshi delay achli. The people who don't eat the korkivin, the people who don't eat kishka. I mean, I don't know who they are. People who won't eat kishka, people who won't eat a good fricassee, the grace of pipiklach, right? I don't know who they are, but the people who don't eat this stuff. Arya doesn't eat it. Arya doesn't eat it. Look at it. Okay, Arya doesn't eat that. So therefore, itzrich lashmin and hachanami kivin dek inshadlei achli, people that won't eat the ovary, and therefore it's not basa. It's the chashmina that it is basa. Okay, so that's the chiddush. So in Achinami, you don't have a raya to that. The only one is Rabbi Yaakov. Ken Zayin is speaking about the ovary itself. Everyone holds the ovary itself is basa, and the chiddush is that even though some people don't eat the ovary, nonetheless it's considered basa le'inyan wat tuma. Okay, so just now digression, another interesting digression in Gemara and Bechayres. Kol says hashmishay biyayim, any creature that mates during the day, noiled biyayim, it will give birth only during the day. Kol shetashmisha b'layla, any creature that only mates at night, noiled b'layla will give birth only at night. Kol shetashmisha bein b'yom bein b'layla, anything that has relations, mates, day and night, noiled bein b'yom bein b'layla can go ahead and have children either during the daytime and nighttime. Going over the brisa, kol shetashmisha b'yom, noiled b'yom, that's what? A chick, a hen. A hen will only live with the rooster during the day. It won't live with the rooster at night. You just found out something. If you look in the I think Dove's not here now, but I think in the hen house, when they want them to mate, they have to put the lights on. So they think it's daytime. They think it's daytime. I mean, again, I'm not saying I'm an expert in this, but that's the case. Fascinating. Kol shetashmisha b'layla, noiled b'layla, zeh atalef. Atalef is a bat. We know the bats are night creatures, right? Kol shetashmisha bein b'yom bein b'layla, adam, a human being. Now, v'chol the damila, and anything that's similar to a human being. Amamar, going back over the brisa. Kol shetashmisha b'yom, noiled b'yom. Anything that has tashmish during the day, mates during the day, is noiled b'yom. Zeh time the goylis. So it's a very nice biological fact, but Gemara is Gemara and wants to know, Lamai nafkamina, halachically, what's the significance of what? That a chicken only has tashmish during the day. And for the Gemara, I'll tell you what it is. The Chid Rav Mori Berei de Rav Kahana. Like Rav Mori Berei de Rav Kahana, the Amar Rav Mori Berei de Rav Kahana, Bodik Bikana Shel Tarnagolis Me'erev Yantif. Let's say you go to a nest of a chicken, Erev Yantif, V'loi Motzaba Beitzah, and you don't find an egg. You go there and you don't find the egg. Ulemachar, and the next day, Hishkim, you get up really early by Aleis HaShachar. So it's before daytime. Umatzaba Beitzah, and you find an egg, Muteres. It's mutter. In other words, since it doesn't have tashmish during the day, it only has tashmish during the day, that egg was there from the day before because it's not going to lay an egg at night. And therefore, it's not even a Beitzah Shenol to be Yontif. The Beitzah was born before Yontif. You went, Bein Hashmashas, you checked, there was no egg. The next morning, before daybreak, you find an egg. Says the Gemara, clearly that egg was there before Bein Hashmashas, because since a chicken mates during the day, it only lays eggs during the day, so it didn't lay the egg on Yontif. So that's not been a beit shenol to be Yontif. Fred the Gemara, the obvious question, Vahaloi Bodak. He checked, there was no egg, so where did it come from? And for the Gemara, maybe he didn't. Vafilu Bodak Yafa, Ema, I could say, Yotza Saruba, V'chazra, Havoi. Rabbi Yochanan, we just saw Rabbi Yochanan, that what? Maybe it came out and went back in, and now it laid it. But clearly when it went out, it was the day before Bein Hashmashis, and clearly it's not a Beitzah Shenol to be Yontif. That's the nafkamina. By knowing this biological fact that a chicken will only go ahead and lay an egg during the day, because it only mates during the day, we have a halachic ramification regarding our halacha of Beitzah Shenol to be Yontif. Ken Zayin that what? The egg was there, but came out, went back, and because it wasn't there before. Inni, is it really so? You're telling me that an egg that you find the next day clearly was from the day before, and you can find it on Yontif, it's mutter. For Amar Rav Yossi ben Shaul, Amar Rav, Bodik Bikana, Shaltana Garlis. If you check the nest of a chicken, may Erev Yontif, Flay Matzava Beitzah, and you do not find an egg, Ulamacha Hishkim, Matzava Beitzah Asura. The exact opposite of what we just said. The exact opposite of Rav Mari. Rav Mari just said in the name of Rav Kahana, it's mutter. Says Rabbi Yosef ben Shol, name of Rabbi, it's also. Says the Gemara, I'll tell you the difference. Hasan b'desafna ma'ara. Over there was no zachar. Over there was no mate. There was no male. So an unfertilized egg, it would lay. Says the Gemara, Hachi, Rav Mari nami ema mi'ara safna. Oh, so why is Rav Mari's mutter? Guys, if you're telling me it will lay an unfertilized egg at night, and that's why it's usher, because it laid it at night, maybe Rav Mari's also case is speaking about an unfertilized egg, and it was late at night. Says the Gemara, there's a male there. If there's a rooster there, it's not going to lay an unfertilized egg. So that's how Rav Mari knew that the egg was there from before Bein Hashmashis. Why are you locked into saying just because there's a male there, it's going to lay a fertilized egg that was from the day before? Maybe it's an unfertilized egg that was made at night already on Yontif. You know, so you're telling me there's two types of eggs now. You're telling me there's a fertilized egg, which was the day before. You're telling me there's an unfertilized egg that was even at night. So how did Rav Mari know it was a fertilized egg? Maybe it was an unfertilized egg, and maybe the chicken gave birth at, Nigmar at Belayla at night, and therefore it's Beitzah Shenol to be Yontif. Says Gemara Ravina, again, some more chicken hen information. If there's a male around, the chicken is not going to go ahead and warm it. The hen won't warm herself up in the ground to lie an unfertilized egg. He'll wait for the zachar. Good. So Mamela, that's what Mari's din. Since there's a zachar around, we don't have to worry about what? We don't have to worry about an unfertilized egg. We don't have to worry about safna da'ara. Since we don't have to worry about safna da'ara, maybe the only thing we have to worry about is that the egg was laid at night. No, since they only mate during the day, then therefore what? They only lay an egg during the day. And that's how Rav Mari knew that the egg was there from before. Geschmack? Good. Says the Gemara, Va'ad Kama, What distance does between the rooster and the hen that will be totally that it's a fertilized egg? So Amarav, Gamda Mishmei de Rav, says of Gamda the name of Rav, Kol Heicha Amid Beis, Kol Heicha the Shame Kola Biyamama. The distance that the hen can hear the rooster croaking. When that doesn't, they don't croak, they cackle. They cackle, but chickens.
No, they crow. You were close. Crow.
They crow, right? They crow. Right. You are correct there. Okay. The hen can hear the crowing. So if you look at Rashi, the Shemir Kol B'Yamama Shakol Edu Nishma B'Yam Kabbalayla. In other words, Laila you'll hear it clearer, but during the day you'll go ahead and hear it not as clear. And Tosfos points out that what? They only say, because we said they only have tashmish during the day. They only mate during the day. So they have to be able to hear, they have to be able to hear the coil, and the coil is only during the day, says Tosfos. It says the daytime. Because again, anything that shmish v'yam is a tanagailis. So therefore, if there's a distance that the crowing of the rooster could be heard by the chicken, we'll say that it's a fertilized egg. It's not misafin the ara, another fertilized egg, and therefore we'll say it came out during the day. And if you find it the next morning, it will be what? Permitted if you find it on Yom Tov. Over Rav Mari Uvda, Rav Mari did some biological testing, and he made an Uvda at Shisen Bati, 60 houses away. They were able to go ahead and be toiler that the hen heard the rooster, and it would not go ahead and make an egg unless the rooster was there. There's a river being mafsik between the rooster and the and the hen. The chicken, the hen, the rooster is not going over the water. However, if there is a bridge, then avra it will go over it. However, if it's a rope bridge, it's not going over the rope bridge. In fact, there was an incident that it did go over on the bridge. Okay. Be that as it may, we have a clarity. If you have you check a nest and there's a rooster in the area and you can't go ahead and find an egg and you find the next morning, you could be assured the egg was there from before and you didn't check well. And therefore it will be mutter to find on Yom Tov. The Mayu Kimta, the Safna Ma'ara, you're Zetzing Ein Rav's Din, Yosef ben Shol, the name of Rav, it's speaking by an unfertilized egg. My area Badik, why do you care if you check Kiloi Badik Nami? Even if you don't check. Again, since the chicken goes ahead and gives birth at night to the unfertilized egg, it'll lay an unfertilized egg. Why do you have to check? Even if you don't check, you can't use it, right? It says, if you didn't check, I'll say maybe it's the day before. That's why you have to check. Even when you check, why don't we say the following possibility? Maybe it went in, it was there, it went in the chicken and it went back in, it came out and went back in. It says, so why does Rav Yosef ben Shol, the name Rav, say it's Aser? Maybe it was born before and came out later. It says, Rabbi Yochanan is not shaykh to go ahead that it gives birth and goes back inside. From Rabbi Yosef ben Shol, Amar Rav, so we have a din. So that's the machlokes between Rabbi Yosef ben Shol and between Rav Mori, speaking about it. It doesn't seem machlokes whether it's fertilized egg, not fertilized egg, and one more din in the name of Yosef ben Shol. I said Yosef ben Shol. I said Yosef ben Yosef. Yosef ben Shol. Amar, hai tu mashchika. If you have ground garlic and you leave it out, sakanto legluya. It's sakant to leave it out. You have a problem of gilu. You worry about snakes coming and placing their venom in the garlic. Okay, that's the din of. Okay, that's the end of eggs, guys. That's the end of eggs. So we mamish 5 plot in, 6 plot in. We did the egg sugyas. Now let's go back to the Mishnah. We said these are all the cases where Beis Shammai was more makel in Hilchos Suda to Beis Hillel. So the next din is a Pesach dikadin. It says sar b'kazayis v'chametz b'koseves. Beis Shammai says the shear of sar is a kazayis and the shear of chametz is a date. Like we had by Yisuvi Daita, we had by Masechta Yom Kippur regarding eating. Whether it's sar or whether it's chametz, the shear is a kazayis. You can see this. You can see this, guys. Okay, good. What does the pasuk say? This is not the pasuk I want. There's another pasuk there. I got to find it. I'm going to find. I'm getting. When I grow up, I'm going to be good at this. No, that's not it. This is it. No. Nope. Okay. Says the pasuk. Shivas yomim toichel matzos, ubayom hashvi chag laHashem. 7 days he matzos, and on the seventh day chag laHashem. Here's the pasuk we need. Matzos ye'achel eish shivas hayomim v'lo yirah l'cha chametz v'lo yirah l'cha se'or. So it says you shouldn't see chametz and should not be found se'or. So you have a din of bal yirah bal yimatzeh, but notice it changes the lashon. First it says chametz and then it says se'or. Chametz is what can be eaten. Se'or is what we call yeast or sourdough. It could be yeast or sourdough, and that cannot be eaten. Okay, and that can't be eaten. So that's one pasuk. Now we have a second pasuk. No, it's the same pasuk. Okay. Anyway, so two inyanim. Machloikis Beis Shammai Beis Hillel. He says kazayis. He says se'or. Beis Hillel says kazayis. Where is the machloikis regarding what they eat, or regarding the din of bal yirah bal yimatzeh, or by both? Did he argue? There's two possibilities. They argue by achila and agree by bal yirah bal yimatzeh. They argue by bal yirah bal yimatzeh, they agree by achila, or they argue in both. Those are the possibilities. Good. Let's see the Gemara. Beis Shammai, I'm Masar b'kazayis. My time at the Beis Shammai. Why does Beis Shammai make a distinction between se'or and chametz? That se'or is a kazayis and chametz is a kaiseves. The Beis Shammai imkein lichterach mana. If they're the exact same shear, chametz lichterach mana. Let the Torah write chametz loy boy se'or. Just write chametz in linyan achila. Write chametz in linyan bal yirah bal yimatzeh, and bal yirah bal yimatzeh. You would know both. Why do you have to change from se'or to chametz? But no, amina ma chametz change kimutze kasha. Chametz, which is not so strong, its leavening power. Because ayis se'or shechimutze kasha, because it has the capacity to go ahead and leaven other things, like kol shekain should be a kazayis. Se'or the kasha rachman alamali. Why does the Torah bothering to write se'or? Leimecha to tell you shiurei shel zeh loiki shiurei shel zeh, that the shiur are not equal. There's din of by yirah by chametz, and there's din of by yirah by se'or. By chametz, the share is a kaiseves, and by se'or, which is stronger, the share is a kazayis. Why does Beis Hillel? Beis Shammai has a very good reason. So why does Beis Hillel say, why do you go ahead and change from chametz to se'or? So tzricha rachman se'or havamina mishum dechim mutzakasha. Therefore, there's din by yirah by yimatzeh. Avu chametz saying chimutzakasha emaloi. I would think there's no din by yirah by yimatzeh. So tzricha to tell me no, there's a din by yirah by yimatzeh by chametz as well. Even though, despite the fact that it's not as powerful as se'or, because rachman chametz mishum the royal achila. You know what is din by yirah yimatzeh? You may come to eat it. Avu se'or shein royal achila. No one can eat a piece of yeast. No one can eat a piece of sourdough, right? So therefore, I would say that there's no din by yirah by yimatzeh, because again, it seems to be the Indian by yirah by yimatzeh shema yipsa guska yafa. Maybe you can find something and eat it. So over here, therefore, since it doesn't apply, I would say there's no din by yirah by yimatzeh se'or. So tzricha tell me there's din by both. That's big. That's l'chayr. So it's very good reasoning of Beis Hillel. A tzrichasa, one could be eaten, one is chametz kosher. Beis Hillel leslu the Reb Zera. Now Reb Zera has a pasuk. He has a pasuk perik yud beis pasuk yud tes. It says shivas yamim sa'or lo yimatzi b'vatechem ki chol ochel mametzes v'nechrasa. 7 days sa'or should not be found in your houses. Ki kol ochel machmetzes v'nechrasa. Anyone eats machmetzes chametz. So again, you're switching from sa'or to chametz. So obviously, what does Reb Zera say? Dam Reb Zera pasuk hakosav b'sa'or. The Torah begins shivas yamim sa'or lo yimatzi. V'sayim b'chametz kol ochel machmetzes. Leimelacha zeu sa'or zeu chametz. It has the same shear. Why is it changing the name? To tell you it has the same shear. So obviously, Beis Shammai, who says it doesn't have the same shear, is arguing Reb Zera. Now you say to yourself, 1 second, Beis Shammai is a Tana, Reb Zera is an Amoira. What does Beis Shammai? What does he have to worry about? The answer is Reb Zera is bringing a pasuk. In other words, Reb Zera is not saying his own thing; he's bringing a pasuk. What does Beis Shammai do with the pasuk of Shivas Yom Sa'or Lo Yimatzi B'Techem Kichol Ochel Machmetzes? What's the change of Sa'or to Machmetzes? By Achila must be to tell me it's the same thing. So now that's by Achila, guys. Notice. So in Achila Kuliyam Le Pligi. Now we're going to amend the Beis Shammai. Now we're going to get clarity in Beis Shammai Shita. When he said the share of Sa'or is Kazayas and the share is Chametz Seves, that's not by Achila. By Achila, the share is both a Kazayas. Even Sa'or, the share is a Kazayas, and even Chametz, the share is a Kazayas. Ki Pligi Le'inyan Beer. The Indian of Bayiro Bayimatzah to remove it, that the Chiyuv to remove, that's where he argues on Beis Hillel. Regarding Achila, in other words, he agrees with Reb Zera. Reb Zera is din Shivas Yamim Sa'or Yimatzeh and Kichol Oichel Machmetzes. He agrees with Reb Zera. It's going to tell me share Sa'or, and it's telling me Chometz, the same share of Achila. Kichol Oichel Machmetzes, the share of Achila. He agrees with shares kazayas even by chametz. Where's the machlokes regarding Bayiro Bayimatzah? The pasuk that we brought in, that was speaking about Bayimatzah, which said Sar by 1 and it said chametz by 2. Why did they tell me 2 different ones? Tell me the share of Bayimar is not Bayiro Bayimatzah is not the same. Sar is a kazayas and chametz is a kaseves. But now, he pligli in bar. We don't learn out the pasuk I put on the board to the pasuk of Shivas Yamim. We don't sushtel Bayiro Bayimatzah to Achilas Chametz. So very geschmack. Let's look back at our Mishnah. Let's go back to the Mishnah. And now we have Pshat in Mishnah. Sa'or b'kazayis v'chametz b'kaiseves. When is that? That's l'inyan Bal Yiro and Bal Yimatzeh. Why? Because we don't learn out from Achila. But when it comes to Achila, even Chametz will be a kazayis. And Beis Hillel says, no, you learn out beer from Achila, and just like Achila is Sa'ar, Reb Zera's din, it's the same share l'inyan Achila, who adin l'inyan Bayiro Matzeh, l'inyan the Chiyuv Timivayr is the same share of a kazayis, same share. That's the Gemara. Itmanami. Also, we learn this pshat. Itmanami. Rabbi Yosi bar Chanina. Machloikis le'inyan beer. Aval le'inyan achila dibya kol zev kazayis. The machloikis between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel is only the Bayiro Bayimatzah. The chiyuv to remove it. But le'inyan achila, everyone holds about it's going to be the shit. It's going to be a kazayis. Tanya Nami Hachi a brayso to substantiate. This is the final pshat. V'loyro lecha chametz, v'loyro lecha sa'or. So machloikis. That's when the machloikis is Bayiro Bayimatzah. Shebein Beis Shammai Beis Hillel, Beis Shammai Yoim, that between Beis Shammai Beis Hillel. Beis Shammai Yoimim Sar b'Kazayis, Chametz b'Kaseves, Beis Hillel Yoimim Zev Zeh b'Kazayis. Okay, I'm going to stop over here. I'll share with you just a short, a great the hair from Avudram on Rosh Hashanah. So it's a fantastic piece. It's found in the Siddur Hagra, Ma'aser Rav. I say it over every year. Yom Kippur, we say we're Mamlech HaKadosh Baruch Hu as king. We, in a sense, we're downgrading. We go from a Kel HaKadosh to Almighty to a Melech HaKadosh. A Melech is someone we can at least visualize. An Almighty God we can't visualize. So it's to make it more real. It also, in addition, is to go ahead and give us a fighting chance. I'll tell you a good mashal. Let's say you have 2 guys. They get a call, guys, Shmerel and Beryl. They get a call, and they say, listen, Shmerel and Beryl, it's your lucky day. What's a lucky day? The king wants to see you. The king wants to see you. The king wants to see you, and the king, okay, they both show up, and the king says, listen, I want to give you whatever you want. Beryl takes out a piece of paper, he writes 500 things, and he goes over the whole list with the king. The king says, okay, that's pretty good. Calls in Shmerel. Shmerel writes a list of 1,000. And then the king says to Shmerel, okay, you want all these 1,000 things? And Shmerel looks at the king and he takes the paper, crumbles it up and throws it away. And he says, I don't want my Watson. You know what, king? I see what goes on in the kingdom. I look around. Things, your followers are not following what you want. They're not following your laws. They're not following what you stand for. I only want to do what you want, king. I want for what you stand for. If you'll notice, in our davening, there's no bakashas. As a matter of fact, Chazal tell us it's also to mention any bakashas. You're not supposed to. You're not supposed to mention bakashas. Why is that? Because as we know, we're facing the Yom Adin. We have all these malachim that we created, and they're all complaining against us. He did this, he did this, he did this, he did this, he did this. We have malachim that we created. Conversely, you're going, he did this, he did this. The malachim that are complaining is saying, look, Rabbi Shalom, look at your world. Look at your world. Look at the king's world. What's going on in the world there? We look at the world today, we're astounded what goes on in the world. The liberalism that goes on in the world, the craziness that goes on in the world. It gets worse and worse and worse and worse, how people denying God in every single shape or form. And this is, he only cares about himself. He doesn't care about you. He only cares about his 500 barrel things that he wrote out. He doesn't care about you. No, Rabbi Shalom, I only care about you. I care about that your pachat should be on the world. I care that your malchus should be in the world. The simlachata. I care only about you, Rabbi Shalom. I don't care about myself. I should be davening myself. It's the Yom Adin. But guess what, Rabbi Shalom? Even though you've given me the opportunity to go ahead and ask and ask and ask and ask, I still only care about you. I still only care about you. Because you're the one, you mean more to me than myself. I'll deal with whatever I deal with. I have Yom Kippur coming up. I'll deal with that. But right now, even though it's the Yom Adin, I only care about you. The Rabbi Shalom turns to Malachim and says, do you see these guys? Do you see Shmerel? He goes ahead. He's got a court case. He's got every request. He has prosecuting Malachim, and you're prosecuting him right now. And he only cares about me, says the Gemara Baba Kama, anyone who's mispalo for his friend and he needs the same thing, he'll be answered first. So Yom Kippur, Yom Kippur is Yom Kippur. But Rosh Hashanah, guys, this mindset, if we place HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Mamlech is king, and Mamish cry for HaKadosh Baruch Hu's world. My biggest picture is standing up in Har HaZeisim and looking down and seeing the Mosque of Omar. How HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the pain he must be in the Makam HaMikdash, the Kodesh HaKadoshim, this stinking mosque that's there. Tumah walking in Yerushalayim, parades in Yerushalayim, gay parades in Yerushalayim. He's HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's unbelievable what he's taking. Erech Apayim, it's unbelievable. So we're going ahead and be Tavei HaKadosh Baruch Hu's elbow, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu's embarrassment, and put ours by the wayside. HaKadosh Baruch Hu maftiach that our tefillah should be answered. It's a very nice piece for it.
Very nice.
See you soon. Have a good day, everybody.
See you time for everybody. Good mention to all.
Good health to enjoy all the other brachas.
Amen.
Hey.